Hi guys, right, I've gone straight into the stream. I hope my audio levels are okay for everyone. I believe now I've come, of course, straight from my scam baiting stream as per usual on a Friday night. Andy will be joining me later because he's also taken a rather vested interest in this case. So hey Hal, hey girl, and hey fall in love with the new moon. I won't do too many hellos because I've been trying to keep these videos on topic more or less from the start. And before, the reason I wanted to start and do sort of half an hour or, well, a bit less than half an hour before Andy joins me is because I would like to, I've been trying to encourage you guys to formulate your own opinions and make your own conclusions to this. I'm going to play parts of the very last part of the interview with the girl. Now, I know to give you a bit of a recap on anyone who is just joining this during this stream, we're looking into the Hampstead Hoax, which is anyone here who is easily perhaps offended might not be the wrong word. We're going to talk about some things that can be quite harrowing, especially during this final conclusion of the interview. This is not an easy subject matter to speak about. And the reason it's quite a difficult subject matter, for those of you that haven't seen the beginning first two streams, is because we listened to a large amount of the young boys' testimony, and we listened to a large amount of the young girls. Now, from what I saw during the chat, most people actually had more. The young boys' testimony was rather I use this word again, and I use it in the loosest possible terms, but fantastical in the fact that he kind of he talked about how, 43 people were waiting in a public toilets for it, not waiting, gathered in a public toilets and then all abused him with fake plastic willies. And then we listened to the young girls, and people had more issue with the young girls' testimony, I would say, because she sort of focused more on the baby killing aspect. I think with the boys it was so far-fetched it was easier to take it with a pinch of salt, whereas with the girls there was maybe more of an element of I think once we'd heard both, and both testimonies to an extent ran very parallel to each other. They both talked about similar things, although there were discrepancies throughout both of them. But I had watched both the videos beforehand before making these streams, but I just thought it was making any of these streams or videos, sorry, but I just thought it was such a curious and interesting case to take a deep look into. Now, I've done my best to try and avoid allowing the names or well, of course, I'm not showing the video, so I'm not showing the faces of children, and I believe most people, or all the people who are part of my lovely little community here, would act with the same discretion. But what I must warn everyone before we go into this now is this is the end part of the interviews, the conclusion of the interviews. It's the third interview with the policeman. It's outside of London in some kind of contact centre, and the children have at this point been taken into care. So they're now no longer. I think they're now being looked after by social services at this point because they realised that whoever they were in the care of, something very, very wrong was going on. To give you a bit of a backstory on the characters that we've discussed so far as well, we've had the people such as, of course, the mother who is the raw vegan yoga teacher lady, and the father who they refer to as Papa Hemp. And, of course, then their own father, who they have accused of being the head of a satanic, baby-killing, child-molesting, paedophile ring. So this is the final interview, and it's only a few minutes long. Now, they do talk. I must please warn you guys, there is one point, and I'm going to find it very difficult to talk about, but it has to be addressed. There's one point in this where they talk about the physical examinations of the children, and it's of course something that needs to be speculated upon, but it's also a very sensitive subject when you're talking about very young children and getting a paediatrician or someone to that effect to check whether there's substance behind these claims that they've been making. So when we get to that point, guys, obviously it's going to be a bit tough to chat about that. But I hope you're going to be able to hear this okay, because I was listening to it on with headphones at work a few days ago, and it was very hard to hear. So I hope you're going to be able to hear now. I've just made sure I've skipped past where the policeman has just taken her full name, and he's just discussed with her the other police people in the room. But she is still with the main policeman. His name escapes me, but the guy who has been conducting these interviews, that I think we're nearly all in agreement that he's very well trained in his field officer, or child liaisons officer, I believe. So now I'm going to start playing this is the last final part of the interview that was uploaded, and give you my opinion, and then afterwards my what I believe to have happened. And that's why it's then going to be quite interesting to bring my friend Andy in at midnight, because he's also watched all of these videos now, and then Andy and I will discuss, because he actually put another theory forward to me earlier that was very, very different, but more plausible than what other people have said before. So that's something to look forward to. May not be the correct terminology in this case, but yeah. So the little girl is now in a contact centre with the policeman, and is about to make a final statement, or a final testimony.
One in Wood Green, and then today, so this is number 3.
Oh.
And then there's another chap, can you remember his name?
Carl.
Carl, that's right, Carl.
And the other one is Matt and Sarah, and we met Cleo yesterday.
Oh, did you? Oh, so you met, today's Carl, so Matt and Cleo, they work in my office and they work with me.
Yeah, but I met Cleo was at the hospital.
Yeah?
In London.
Yeah, she works with me, but she's not here today. It's only me and Carl. And what we're here today is just carry on really what we've been talking about, because there's been so much.
How it all started.
Well, we spoke a few bits, haven't we? And then whilst we was on our way here,
some of them are not true. That Abraham told us to say.
Yeah, that's what you said on the car.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what we're doing...
Okay, now I'm not sure how the audio volume is for you guys in the chat, but the girl has just said there that basically the first thing she said upon entering this room is that some of the claims that they've put forward in their previous statements are not true, and that Abraham, aka Papa Hemp, has told them to say.
That's where we'll start, but before we do, I'd like to just go through the rules again. I know you're probably sick of hearing. Gosh, can you remember them? Can you?
Okay, I'm gonna skip forward a couple of minutes, guys, here, because they just go through the rules. That it's like he just says, make sure you give me all the information because I wasn't there. Make sure that you tell me everything that's true. You won't get in trouble as long as everything is true. So I'm just gonna skip past that little bit there.
No, me and Gabriel were watching a movie.
Yeah.
Which is the Zorro.
Yeah.
The movie, which is the Zorro. So then after we were watching, and after it finished, Abraham came out of the balcony, and he came and talked and said to us that he said like who's touching you, and then everything that, and then we guessed and guessed and guessed, and then after he said nope, it's your father. So then after we had an idea to tell that he just kills babies and stuff because we watched the Zorro.
Okay.
So I'm sorry to interrupt again, guys. But she described they watched the movie Zorro, and just after they had watched this movie, I believe it was The Mask of Zorro that they watched. Abraham, Papa Hemp, came out onto the balcony and said, "Who's touching you?" And he repeated this question until, and they said all different names for. Well, I'm making kind of assumptions, I suppose here, but they repeated names until eventually he coerced them into saying that their father was touching them. So yeah. And then she's just mentioned here the baby killing apparently was somehow influenced by the movie The Mask of Zorro. Now, I haven't personally... Is The Mask of Zorro the one with Catherine Zeta-Jones? I may have seen that many, many years ago, but I don't remember it being quite as disturbing as that. But perhaps it's not the same Zorro movie that I've watched. Anyway, I'll continue a little bit with this because, of course, I need to get Andy in just over 15 minutes. So let's go.
We spoke a couple of times. Do you remember? And obviously, what the one rule you remembered was tell the truth and don't lie.
Yeah.
That's out of all those rules. That's the only one you remember.
Yeah.
So why is it that you told me something then, which was not true? And
no, because Abraham told me to say that. So then after that, there's more trouble because I didn't know there would be more trouble. But he told me to say that because I was too scared of him.
Oh, okay. And why are you scared of him?
Because he'll just hit me if I say okay, then he'll just hit me because he doesn't believe me.
Okay, you told me lots and lots of things there.
Yeah.
So what I want to start with, so you're in Morocco.
Yes.
You're watching Mask of Zorro.
Yeah.
And what is that film, Mask of Zorro?
So it's all about like baddies are from California and they come and there's goodies are living in California and then they build buildings and then they have like gunpowder all around the building, the wooden buildings.
Yeah.
And all the people in California are all trapped in there.
Yeah.
So then after the baddies so some people escape.
Yeah.
But then their baddies, their leader goes after them. Well, really, that's right at the end. But at first, is that when the people are all free, nothing bad happened.
Okay.
There were two boys, and then this Mask of the Zorro, he was, I don't know what country it is, but there were two boys. They lived in a place, and there was a bad king, and there was this prison. There was not prisoners. There were good people, because he had treated the good people in his prison.
Yeah.
And it's not like actual prison. So the soldiers got guns and they kill the people who are in prison, while they have a cloth around their eyes and then they're standing on their knees.
Okay.
So they got shot.
I apologise, guys, for sort of at the moment, they're literally the young girl is just describing the plot to the movie Zorro, but I don't want to miss anything out now that comes next. It says there's more or less 20 minutes left, but I think the last 10 minutes is dead air, and I'm sure Andy won't mind waiting a minute or two anyway before we hear the end of this this part of the testimony, and then I'm gonna before Andy comes on, I would actually like to put my theory forward that it might be right, it might be wrong, we'll see. Anyway, I apologise, we'll try and get through this, but yes, that's the reason that we're listening to the plot to the movie The Mask of Zorro.
And after they got saved by two small boys and the Mask of the Zorro, so his name is Zorro.
Okay, and you said there's a bit where someone gets cut, is that right?
Yeah, that's in the middle. So then after, the two boys grow up to adults, and one of the boys, the Zorro, he's a man, and he's a hero in the film, and he gives this big silver necklace to one of the boys because he helped, so he had the idea to put this big statue of rock and kill the soldiers. Yeah. So, and then after the prisoners they're good though. They're good people. So then they get all free, and then they run for their life. But then after the Zorro, he comes and gives this big necklace to the oldest boy who had the idea. Yes, and then after when he grew up, there's this bad man who was from California. He looks a bit like my dad actually. But he's just got long hair, like up to here.
Yeah.
So then after his baddie,
Yeah.
he had a whole group of soldiers, and after he knew one of the boys. They were one of they were actual brothers.
Yeah.
Or the one with the necklace. He knew that was the necklace of the Zorro, so he tried to kill him.
Right.
So because those two boys, which
Yeah.
are grown ups now, they were wanted down in California just because of the Zorro. So then they both got caught, and then after, they were just coming to California. Then the people there, they had posters all around, and it says that the two boys, they look just the same, like the two men, they look just the same, like on a poster. So then it says wanted, and after people there, they all catch them to try to catch them. But then at the end, one of them just got out his sword and just sliced off his head.
Oh, okay.
And they covered it in a whole bag,
Oh, okay.
a big bag and like a sack,
Yeah.
and they took it away and just dumped it into a big hole. And they cut the head and they cut off the hands.
Yeah.
And I put them in small jars and water, and they drink the water from it.
Oh, okay. So this is so that was the man that looks like your dad in the film. Done that. Oh, okay. So you're watching that film, and you said Abraham's come in and said, "Who's been touching you?"
Yeah.
And why do you think he said that?
I don't know. He just came in. He did just come in. He came with my mum.
Yeah.
And he said, I think he was planning to get me and Gabriel in trouble, I think.
Yeah.
But he just said, who's touching you? Who had learned you to touch you?
Okay, is that... And also, I must warn you guys as well, there's parts of this last part of the interview I find absolutely heartbreaking, and not for the reasons that you... When I saw this last part of the interview, it more or less, for me at least, confirmed kind of what I'd thought about. But there are parts where it's very heartbreaking, because you can see the psychological, at the very least, damage that's been done to this poor girl.
Each other.
And were you touching each other?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah, but then after, we just watching my friend Sophie from my school.
Sorry there, because I kind of cut out a very important bit as well. Her and her brother, they had been touching each other inappropriately. However, like kids 9 and 8, or 8 and 7, they have feelings they don't understand, and siblings, it's something that often happens. I believe. I mean, my siblings were much older than me, so but it's something that happens, and she explains the reason why here, but it's not. I'm giving more away than I should. I should just let this play out and let you listen to it, guys. So bear with me.
She touches me.
Who? Sophie?
Yeah, she's my friend, but not really.
Oh, okay.
She just bullies me and all kind of stuff.
Okay.
And she touches my private.
Okay. So she's a friend of yours?
Yes, but she's not my friend, actually.
Yeah.
But she learned me to do that, because I don't know where she got that from, but she just done it to me.
Okay. So Sophie showed you how to do it?
Yes, and then that's after she...
And what did she show you to do?
So she touched me, and then she said, touch me. So then I said, no, that's wrong. So then after she just told me, she just took my hand and just showed, took my hand and grabbed my hand and touched it to her private.
Oh, okay.
And after I said, don't do that, Sophie, or you won't be my friend. And she said she does not care. And she said to me, she did it to my brother, and then she'll give me a whole big packet of sweets.
And did she?
Yeah. She said, I'll give you a big packet of sweets tomorrow if you touch your brother or whatever. So then
Okay, now let's remember as well, something else I want to point out here. These kids, and it's something I said in part 2 of these videos as well, there's a constant theme of food and hunger that runs throughout this that is quite unsettling. You've got to remember, they're being brought up raw vegan, so they're not getting given any sort of protein. Like, I'm not saying, you know, you can have protein, you can have nuts and things, I guess, that substitute what meat would give you. but at the same time, you're at a primary school where you're watching kids eating whatever they want. Their parents sending them in with lovely packed lunches. We're talking about Hampstead Primary School, so you know they've probably got lovely sandwiches full of ham and cheese, and these kids only get to eat like vegetables and things. So the promise of sweets, this girl influenced by this Sophie, who sounds like a bad influence, but you have to remember these 8-9-year-old kids, they have feelings they don't understand, and they're trying to work them out, and they don't know how to do that correctly. So Sophie's curious, has gone to her sister, to her friend and said, look, I'll give you a big... She knows this girl will do anything for sweets because she's desperate for sugar, because they're not being allowed food of any kind, or any nice food, I suppose. Again, I'm speculating. Remember, everything I say is my own personal opinion and purely speculation. I don't know any pure facts in regards to this case, and I'm coming into it nearly as blind as most of you guys are. In fact, I was quite surprised quite a lot of you knew of this case, and I only heard about it a few days ago. But yeah, I'll continue.
I chatted to Gabriel in an afternoon Matt's day when she said she'll give me a packet of sweets.
Yeah.
She told me, she said, and after I said, where's the packet of sweets they you promised me? And she said, I'm just joking, I'll never give you a packet of sweets.
Oh, okay. So so Abraham's seen you touching your brother, and then what's happened?
And after when he said, who learned you to touch, and all that, and I said, Sophie learned me to touch Gabriel.
Yeah.
But then he didn't believe me, so then he said, no, someone else. And then I just said, it was just Sophie and my friends. That's who they taught me to do that.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's your dad. So then I just really forgot blank.
Okay.
I just thought, why would he say my dad even though it's not true?
Okay, so did your dad teach you?
Only Sophie and me and Ella.
So, the stuff that happened in the church and the swimming pool at school, did any of that really happen?
No, that was all made up.
It was all made up?
He told me to say that, and I said, what?
Sorry, just to let you know in the chat, CG Rooster, Abraham is this man, Papa Hemp. I'll give you a bit more information about him before I tell you my whole kind of theory over the end. There's a couple more bits that come up in this that are a bit more distressing. But I'll try to hold back. But Abraham is the guy, is basically the mother's boyfriend who they're in custody of. And he's also referred to as Papa Hemp. If you heard me mention Papa Hemp, that is Abraham. He's the same person.
Why, Abraham? That's not true, though.
Okay, so,
but then he said, yes, that is true, so don't lie. Just say that to the police.
How did you think about, because you told me about all, they all dance around with baby skulls. Yes, how did you think of that idea?
Because he went like this. They dance around with baby skulls in the church, don't they? That's what Abraham told me. And I said, no, they don't. And he said, yes, they do. Stop lying. Little brat. That's what he told me.
Oh, okay. So he's told you. He's
and
said.
After I kept on arguing with him that I didn't. And then he said, that I'm not arguing with you. You did do that, stupid little cunt. That's what he told me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I don't know if any of you picked up on that, guys, as well. She actually, it's the only time in the beginning of these interviews, I really, the child abuse officer guy, the child liaisons officer, that's just what I call him, I'm not sure if I've got that correct, but he said from the beginning, if they said F words and S words and everything, you can say that, and she's just said the word cunt there without even thinking about what it means. I'm not sure if she even understands the word, but apparently Abraham called her a stupid little cunt, which is the strongest word that has been used throughout any of these videos. So it's now also the bit before about them dancing with the skulls and they eat babies. And someone mentioned it in one of these streams recently. It reminds me of, well, they told me about it, but the meme, if you're agnostic, then you if you're atheist, then you may as well eat babies. And it's like, Right, I'm not going to say any further on the parents. We're going to address the horrible bits, and then I'm going to put what I think these people, what has happened, and how these poor children have been involved as pawns in their horrible, warped chess game.
It's not very nice, is it?
Well, I just thought I'll just say yes, he did do much father did do that.
Alright. So, and then what about the stuff that happens at the swimming pool?
That's not true.
Not true.
He takes us to the swimming pool, but he just plays with us with the balls there in the swimming pool, and other people are there.
Okay.
We don't know who.
And so what about all your teachers and all that?
They don't do it.
They don't do it?
They never even met my Mr. Hollins, my teacher. He never even met my dad. He doesn't even know his name.
Have you been to his house? So that description you gave of the house.
Remember that time when he took us for me and gave it to show the house.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't show the house, because we didn't know where.
Okay.
So we just thought
Right, and this is the teacher that both the children referred to by name numerous times that they're talking about now, and she described in detail his house, and it was in part 2 of this little series that I've done. I think people got quite upset because they were like, it's so detailed, this can't be real. But then they're now talking. The police took them out on a drive to see where the house. It was the house that the girl described, if you remember, in part 2, with the little door at the back of the wardrobe leading down to the basement, and they took them on a drive. She said he lived in Highgate, and they took her on a drive to that area to see the house, and they didn't know where the house was. They had never been to the house, and that's what she's talking about now.
Thought she did like a spare place.
Yeah.
But we didn't know which house. We just choose any.
And what happened? Because you went out before that, didn't you, with your mum?
Yeah, that's why he was so fed up with me and Gabriel.
Yeah.
That we didn't show the house. That's why we keep on like saying, it's over there. But then she said, my mum and Abraham said, no, that's a building where people work. So after I just got in trouble. So then.
What do you mean you got in trouble?
So then they hurt me a lot, and they said, let's go back home, and then the police...
They what you a lot, sorry?
They hurt me a lot.
I didn't even notice that. She also says there that the mother, Abraham and the mother, hurt her a lot. I didn't even pick up on that when I listened to this previously. And I think... And the difficulty we have here is so many people want this kind of thing to be true with satanic demon worshippers, and that they're willing to overlook that this, to me, is the most honest part out of this whole interview. It's so heartbreaking because it shows you the extent of psychological, even having to talk about your own father and say he's done these horrible things to police, and then because you get it wrong to go home and get hurt because of it. How fucked is that? Sorry.
How?
So they call me bad words which hurt my feelings a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And then they hurt me with the spoon because he said that he will take the spoon just in case.
Okay.
That's why I keep cleaning.
And whose car did you go in?
It's not our car. It's a taxi.
Are you in a taxi?
The taxi knows about it.
And what taxi did you get? Do you know where from?
Just a normal cab. I don't know where from.
What car was it? Do you know?
Just a black normal cab.
Black cab. And where did you pick this cab up from?
I don't know. It's his friend. His friend Rob works in that.
Rob. Oh, okay. So you've gone in his taxi, you've driven around and you couldn't see it.
And then after she told me to, my mum told me to show Mr. Hollins' house, and I was like, it's just over there down that road, and then there was just loads of houses lined up, and then she said, and then after Gabriel went with her to show the house, but then after, I stayed with Abraham in a taxi, and then when they come back, my mum took me, and then she said that's the wrong road, that's not Highgate or anything.
Okay. So, when we spoke, you told me a lot about Mr. Holling's house, didn't you? You described everything about it. And you told me even what telly he had. What made you choose that telly?
Because at tennis, we go to tennis and they have a Samsung.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know about this wardrobe with secret doors?
Yeah.
Because that's from the Master of the Zorro movie.
It's from Master of Zorro?
Because the leader of California,
Yeah.
he got this kind of secret passageway with a wardrobe. I just saw that. And
So if you remember, guys, they talked about the secret passageways in the church and in the school and in the teacher's house of where they all sort of had these horrible dungeons set up for everyone to do things with their plastic willies. But she's saying that that idea came from the Mask of Zorro.
There was one of the people peeked at him, would go to the passageway, so when he went out of the room, they went in the passageway and it got caught, and then after they got their cut off, their head cut off.
Oh, I see, that makes sense now. What else? Come on, you've been to the doctors twice, didn't they?
Yeah.
You've been to the doctors twice.
Yeah.
And they said
then
a couple of
I was really hoping that they'll find some scars or something.
Why?
And they did find some scars. I have no idea why.
You don't know why?
No, I have no idea why. I was like hoping. I was hoping for.
Why was you hoping they'd find some?
Because then they'll say, you do not have any scars, so then I will get in trouble for not, because I don't have scars, then there will be not, then the whole thing is, then I'll get in trouble for not done this.
Has anyone ever put anything into your bum? What about into you call it your front bum?
I'm sorry, just to let you guys know that, because obviously this is probably the hardest part to watch, but yes, they're discussing. She shakes her head as in no when he asks her that question. I'm not going to dwell on that part much longer.
Well, what about into your front bum?
No, it's only Abraham who kicks my privates.
He kicks your privates, would you?
So, and this has been a recurring theme. Do you remember with the young lad when we did part 1? He talked about being kicked in the privates, and it seems to be, I don't know. These kids are I don't think it's sexual, but they've suffered both psychological and physical abuse, and I don't think it's come from the person that they've been told to accuse of it.
So when I got because in Morocco, he had this big boots.
Yeah.
Because it's muddy there.
Yeah.
Because it's in the mountains. So he just kicked me right in my front private.
Oh, okay.
And then to my bottom.
Okay.
But I keep on. That's why I'm so used to it. That's why I keep on going like that, and then keep on running away from him when he got his boots on.
Right, I see.
But then he's faster than me, so he just comes after me and just kicks me.
And you told me a lot about plastic willies and.
That was all not true because Sophie,
how did you know about it?
Sophie, she has an iPad Mini and she likes sexy stuff and all this, and she showed me a picture of plastic willies sticking a bum.
Oh right.
So I got the idea of that because I was thinking it was in year 3.
Oh, in year 3.
And I'm in year 5 right now.
Oh, okay.
So I just remembered it from memory straight away, and then I just said, they stick plastic willies in my bottom, Abraham.
So how did Gabriel know about all that?
Because I told him. Because that time I told Gabriel that day when Sophie showed me on iPad Mini. Yeah, she showed me this kind of stuff, and he said, "Ew, that's yucky. What she done?"
So can I make sure? So your dad's never done anything you don't like?
He's fine and he's good.
Okay. So, you made this up because
of all the stuff I just remembered why I saw, I know everything, but it's just all because of Abraham, because he keep on hitting me, telling me.
What do you mean keep on hitting you?
Well, he keeps on saying like I'm gonna not live with them. He's gonna dig a hole in the field and dig me into it, and then just leave me there and till I die.
Jesus Christ.
Till I drown, because they're going to put water at the top of me. And then after I got too scared.
And where did all this happen?
Morocco.
Did it happen in England at all?
No, it was in Morocco.
All in Morocco?
Yes, all in the middle of our holidays.
Okay, now to sort of divulge the information I had before I first started this series, because I wanted people to come into it, and this is the reason that I've kind of not come out with my own take on everything from start to finish so far, because I wanted everyone else who, of course some of you already had knowledge of it, but I wanted everyone else to come into it with sort of blind like I did and see what you thought of it. But these allegations all came forward just in a very short time span after these children came back from a 4-week trip to Morocco with this guy Abraham and their mother. And this is why, I don't know if you guys remember, I mentioned that she talks about them having the water torture and the cold water that became warm poured onto them, and that's why I believe that happened during this period in Morocco.
Okay. So has he ever done anything in England?
No.
Always in Morocco?
He never knew that.
Okay. Okay.
And you know when he said that, did he tell you that he heard my father's voice?
I've heard something about on Skype.
No, because he said that he heard his voice on Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true. And then he says that I am lying because he says, I can see through you, and he said that you're lying. And I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I think this is what he does. He believes in lies,
yeah,
not in truth. He doesn't believe in truth, just lies.
Okay.
Because I lied to him all this time. Because
Okay.
that's why I keep on saying, changing things. I keep on saying, my father done that, and then done that, and then after I keep on changing things because I didn't know what to say. That's why I keep on getting hurt, and that's why he thought I was lying.
Okay. So I'll make this. So you hurt your ear as well. The doctor said there's something wrong with your ear. Is that right?
No, it was I had an infection a long time ago.
Oh right. So
I had a big, I don't know what it was, but it was an infection. It was a big black.
I'm not going to have time to play it before we come on as well, guys, but in the little boy's confession, and this is a bit odd, and she says, oh, like, I had an ear infection a long time ago. The little boy also has a problem with his ear, and it was from this Abraham guy apparently smacking him very hard around the head. So, yeah, sorry guys, because I really need to get on.
Okay.
And then I had a special spray, and I had to spray it in my ear every single day.
Did anyone else have that in your family?
No, it was only me.
See, that's why your ears. So you had an ear infection.
No,
You don't know why there's scars on your bum,
No.
but it's not because anyone's put
No,
anything in
I
there.
didn't know. Maybe when I was little and when I was in the bath, I don't remember, but maybe I slipped or something
Okay.
when I was coming out of the bath
Right.
on Highland Avenue.
So the other two things, when we spoke a lot, none of that's true.
Well, yes, but the thing is, when he just started, I just was fed up.
No,
I
I
was just
understand.
thinking that I don't care if I go to jail. I think I deserve to go to jail for lying so much.
You shouldn't. No.
Oh, and this is where this video starts absolutely breaking my heart. This girl knows that she's said the things, well, that I believe that that this guy has told her to say, and she knows the extent of these lies, but she's saying, I mean, this is a, what, 8, 9-year-old girl? She's saying, I think I should go to jail for the things I've said. I mean, it's that she has that much innocence still. It's kind of, I suppose, to an extent, it's heartbreaking, but it's a bit of a restoration in humanity that this monster has put these lies in her head, but she still understands to the full extent of the law, and I don't know, but it gets a little bit more harrowing yet.
Do you remember what I've always told you, that as long as you tell me everything, you won't get in trouble?
Yeah, but all
And that's
about
still
that
true
church,
now.
All about that church, all about the what was his name? Father Paul's rooms, all not true.
All not true. Okay.
That's why I was so worried that you won't find any skulls in rooms. The
Okay.
rooms are true, not the secret rooms.
Yeah, no.
But the
that-
nursery room, all of that is true. Then I was so scared that you won't find the scars in the church. So then I was so scared and worried.
It's fine. It's fine. But are you telling me the truth now?
Yeah, that's true.
Good. So you said it because Abraham kept going on you. You said Abraham has hit you and kicked you.
Yes, that's right.
And said things, but that was all in
Abraham was
Morocco.
the whole problem.
That was all in Morocco.
He was the whole problem. He made. He just. I don't know. He just. I don't know what he done.
Okay. And why has your mum let this happen? Why do you think your mum's let him?
My mum believes. She believes in lies too, like Abraham.
And where was she when he kicked you?
She was just like at the front of Abraham.
Okay. And why do you think she let him do it? Did she try and stop it, or?
No, she never done that. Never.
And how good is the line of questioning from the policeman as well? To be fair, that guy, like, I don't think you couldn't ask for a more straight-laced and perfect man in that position. Like, well, if this guy's kicking you in the, I was going to say the bollocks, but that's not right for a woman, is it? But if this guy's kicking you in the privates, why is your mum not stopping him? That's that. I don't know.
Why?
Never ever. She'll never do that.
Why not?
No, because
She's under his. She's kind of saying she's under his spell, I guess, to an extent. But I think the mother has to take a whole lot of responsibility here.
She loves him so much.
Yeah.
That she never shouts at Abraham.
Yeah.
But Abraham, when he's angry with me and Gabriel, when he
Yeah.
says we lie,
Yeah.
then he says swear words at the front of my mum.
Okay. So, and before Abraham was in the house, I know when we met you was vegan, wasn't you? Raw vegan, is that right? And what was you before Abraham come in?
No, even before we were still raw vegan.
Oh, was you?
My mum but she never put nettles, grass, or anything in.
In fact,
juice.
right, I need to say
Yeah.
this. That policeman asked a more insightful comment than I would have done, like piecing this whole thing together. Right there, he asked about the raw veganism, which is something we've mentioned many times in the whole food aspect. And he asks about, and he attains, with that question, he says one thing, like, was your mum as mental beforehand? Maybe, I apologise to any raw vegans who are listening, that might be the wrong way of putting it. But no, that's a really insightful question, like, was all this going on? Is this to do with the fact that everyone in your family is constantly hungry? You've all gone mad.
Put like apples, all kind of stuff in. And she used to buy us vegetarian jelly beans, vegetarian sausage rolls, like, but not cereal, not always.
Yeah.
She bought a box of cereal, but only a tiny bit, maybe 3 times a week.
Okay.
Something like that, but not always. And then but since we were 6 or 5,
Yeah.
she used to buy us cereal. But then after, when we were 8 and 9,
Yeah.
then she stopped buying cereals and all stuff.
Okay. And with that, you call Abraham Papa Hemp, don't you?
You know, he told us to.
Why is that?
Because he keeps on saying, "I saved you, Elisa, so you better call me Papa Hemp."
Okay, he saved you. How did he save you?
He said that he saved us from my father.
Okay.
And I thought that was just so stupid what he said.
Do you like calling him Papa Hemp?
He
Okay.
said he's my real father.
And what do you
And he
think?
lied about that. And then he lied about him being my mum's sister. No, my mum's brother.
To who?
So he lied to me and Gabriel. He said that he's my mum's brother.
Okay.
Which is not true. I thought that is so not true. My mum would have been black like him.
Yeah. Okay.
And then my grandma will be black like him too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his father. Well, actually, yeah, his father and his mother would have been black. Well, my mother's mum and father,
Yeah.
they would have been black too.
Okay.
If Abraham wasn't my mum's brother.
Okay.
If he wasn't my mum's brother, then he'll be white. Well, he would be brown, and my mum would be white.
Okay. And what do you think about Abraham now?
I think he's just. I don't mean to be rude, but I think he's just an idiot.
Okay. And what And why is it you're able to tell me now and you wasn't able to tell me before with Abraham?
And again, I need to pause there because that's a very... These questions this policeman asks, he has a way with kids that, like, cuts to the truth. And I think listening to this final part, like, that question there, like, why couldn't you tell me this before? He is dissecting what is true and what is not. Obviously, you guys can't see the body language, and a lot of sort of the people who are supporting these people saying, yeah, there definitely is this demonic, satanic baby-killing cult. They're like, oh, well, the kids look like they're drugged by this third interview. You know, they've been told to say this, but the... In fact, I've got to try and remember everything I need to say later, because I don't want to give anything away of my theories of this. But yeah, I absolute props to this policeman. What a legend.
Because before I was too scared to tell.
Yeah.
But then after, when you mentioned that if it's true or not about the babies, then I wanted to tell you, because then I thought you'll never believe me then.
Okay.
When like before, but then when you mentioned it, then I thought you might believe me.
Do you think you'd been caught out, did you? Or?
No, I thought I would get in big trouble for like saying all kind of stuff like that and that and that.
Yeah. Okay. As I said, you're not in trouble, but thank you. No. And where is it you'd like to stay, if you could? In Carol's, not Carl's, Carol's, yeah.
Carol's.
Yeah. Okay. What we'll do, we'll have a little break. I'm just going to chat.
All right, and that's pretty much the end of the testimony from the girl. The boys is a bit similar. It's a little more contrived, I would say, but I'm not going to go looking into that because I want to bring Andy in just a second. It's already 20 minutes later than I said I would do. So here's my personal take on this absolutely incredible story. I wouldn't like to disrespect or trivialize what these children have been through. However, what they talked about and what they've been told to talk about is psychological damage that I don't think these parents understood that they were doing to the children at the time of coaching them. And that's since we did the first part of this series, people have been saying, yeah, it's coaching, it's coaching. Yes, that's exactly what I believe these parents did. Now, this is my pure opinion and speculation, but I'm going to give it to you. The mother and the father had a tumultuous relationship. They'd been through many custody battles. The father, I believe, was fighting for more rights to see his children. There is one mention during the videos of some violence from the father towards their mother, which I believe may well have been true, but I don't believe he was ever violent towards his children. And again, I can only speculate on that, but everything they said about these ritual sacrifices, baby killing, eating, sexual abuse was complete fabrication, and it was born out of the fact that their mother was already a kind of a fitness freak, raw vegan, like not feeding the kids well. And she met this guy who already had criminal convictions, some of them violent. And these are the kind of people... I don't mean this in regards to all raw vegans. I'm sure there's some completely sane raw vegans. But but the sort of people that, if you read the material that's available online about this, they talk about how Frank, the manager at McDonald's, allowed them to sacrifice babies in the upstairs room of McDonald's. Of course, because if you're a vegan, McDonald's is the fucking devil. It's the devil. Your dad doesn't eat, your dad eats meat and your dad smokes. He's the devil. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the film The Water Boy, but Bobby Boucher's mum, she go, hey, that's the devil, Bobby. Like, that's what because their views on this, so they're like, well, your dad, and it's why I mentioned the meme earlier, like, oh, you must be atheists, you must eat babies. It's people that think that anyone that doesn't hold the same belief as them has no morality. So in their mind, they built up this picture. They're like, well, if their dad eats meat and he smokes, or maybe I was going to say, oh, he has a joint from time to time. However, this is one story that I am very pro 420. However, you don't give your kids weed, and Papa Hemp was giving his kids weed. He was giving them soup with weed in it, and he was kicking them in the bollocks. And then they wanted this to be true. That's how this story managed to run and run, because they were so convicted in it that they coached their children in it, to the extent that they went forward to the police, and with no thought, and that's the most upsetting thing, with no thought for the repercussions for anyone implicated. This Papa Hemp Abraham fellow, he had already had he'd had fracases, so to speak, to use a word from my scam baiting channel. He'd had fracases, or fracas, with teachers at this school, where they had where he'd complained I guess they'd been giving them food. I don't know if you remember, the girl mentioned spaghetti bolognese and putting baby in it at one point, and I wonder if it was they'd had spaghetti bolognese. The kids were so hungry, they're like, yeah, we'll have whatever's going in the canteen. And then this bastard Papa Hemp comes along and goes, you've had what? You've had what? If it's been cooked over 148 Celsius, you can't have that. And then he starts arguing with the teacher, and he takes a note of the names, and he goes, right, this Mr. Thingy, this Miss Thingy, this Mrs. Thingy, you're going to implicate all of these fuckers, and you're going to get them all stitched up by claiming child abuse. And in their minds, I think there was a cult, but the cult was Papa Hemp leading this family in his warped, twisted vision of what he believes anyone that doesn't believe the same thing is. There's also, I believe, a video from Papa Hemp's brother-in-law that was passed to the police 3 weeks in advance of any of this happening, showing him coaching the children, and that was just put into the police archives. So that policeman who conducted the interviews, what a great guy. Everything he did was excellent. He conducted himself and the interviews perfectly. But the police are still at fault here. There can't ever be a problem where the police don't fuck something up, because if they had watched the video beforehand, I think as well, because some people say, well, this shouldn't have even seen the light of day, it's so ridiculous, they shouldn't have even been questioned. But if they hadn't, they would still be in the custody of Papa Hemp and their mother. So what actually came of this in the end was probably the best possible outcome. These children haven't, I believe, been abused sexually, which is the worst kind of abuse. However, they were taken away from an insane mother and a horrible stepfather. That's my personal opinion. I'm going to bring Andy in now and see what he thinks. So do bear with me a moment, guys. Oh, Andy's hung up on me. How lovely. So I was prepping him in. I'm just reading the comments. Guys, Papa Hemp 420's munchies eating babies. If that was the case, Skeleton, I would be eating babies right now. Yeah, no, I don't believe there was any sexual child abuse, but I believe, yeah, there was psychological and terrible abuse. Hello, Andy. You might want to turn off my video from the background.
Hello, Andy. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you turn the sound down on the stream?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I just have done now.
It's on a delay.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can. And not hear my own voice in the background. Oh, someone's saying they can barely hear you, though. Hold on. I think it's because you're very quiet. Why are you so quiet, Andy?
Just hang on.
Well, this is brilliant for the stream. Apologies, guys. We've had a fantastic, very insightful things. I'd like to hear your guys in the chat what your views are. Of course, we've gone on this whole kind of journey together, and I hope you've all. Well, I don't know if enjoy would be the right word, but you've all maybe compelled. Could I consider my view on things compelling? Well, the case is compelling for sure. My view on things maybe not so much. But yeah, what do you
Hello?
Hello? Are you with me now?
Yeah, I can't actually hear you at all through Skype, Adam, at the minute.
What do you mean? You're listening to me on the stream? Right, hold on. I think I've maybe hit a button. No, I shouldn't have done. Can you hear me, Andy? Andy? Hello? Apologies, guys. This was all going so well. Talk. Right, hold on. Let me try calling him back. I'll call Andy back and hopefully he can hear me. That's never happened before. Now he's not answering. Well, fantastic. Trust Andy to bring the level of a stream down, even without actually putting any input in. So yeah, I understand there's a lot of people that really want this whole thing to be true because of like the government pedo. I don't deny as well, guys. Let's get that straight. I don't deny that the government has probably horrible pedo rings and things like that, but this wasn't one of them, and it's very sad because what people don't really take into account is the fact that there was families and children implicated in this who people are still getting shouted at today and like abused on the street and that kind of thing. Can you hear me, Andy?
Hello, I can't hear you coming through Skype at all, Adam, for some reason.
It's got to be on your end. How weird. My microphone is definitely on. Let me check this. Don't go anywhere, Andy. Yeah, my Skype microphone is
right.
definitely
I'm gonna have to restart my computer if you can hear me. So try calling me back in a few minutes.
All right. Yeah, Danielle, I think, and it's the really sad thing about it is it's child abuse of a different kind. It's kind of, normally I need like the analyzations and the really dark stuff to Andy to do, but this case just piqued my curiosity so much that I had to sort of share it with you guys, I suppose, because I believe a lot of the people here, we're all into kind of true crime and things that are a little bit dark. So, well, I'm hoping Andy can sort his Skype out. What I might have to do for a second, guys, is just stop the stream for one moment and come right back so we can have a proper chat about it. In fact, then these two videos would be split in two parts anyway. I can find out exactly what's going on with Andrews. It's probably on his end because he does have a lot of issues. And complete silence there. Bad silence, dead silence, while I just quickly took a drag of my cigarette and contemplated this whole thing. It felt good to get the whole end of everything off my chest, because I've been hinting at my feelings on it beforehand, because I had watched each of the videos before we actually started going through them. But it just shows us what, you know. Also, personally, I don't believe, and this might be a little bit trivial after everything we've discussed, but personally, I don't believe that even if you're a vegan or a raw vegan, you should give your children the choice to do whatever they want. Right, let me try calling Andy. I've got all of them. Okay, it doesn't even work calling him, it just hangs up. Hello?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Right, that problem was on your end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's just, oh, you wouldn't believe, right? So I have Skype on my phone and my computer, right? So you were calling me, so I was trying to accept the call on my PC, but it wouldn't accept it, no matter how many times I pressed the green button. So then I called you, but then it wasn't reading the sound card. Then I did it 3 more times. Your voice wasn't coming through. So I restarted the computer, and then it did Windows updates.
Right. Well, it sounds like me when I'm trying to do my scam baiting streams. And also, thanks for the most boring introduction you've ever done. Well, this is Andy, everyone.
What do you mean the most boring introduction I've ever done? I didn't even know if you could hear me.
Well, no, you could have just kept shouting hello, hello, hello like earlier. But you seem to have been well received in the audience. They already know you and like you. So
Yeah,
did you listen to the final part of what we talked about of the Hampstead Hoax? Did you have a little listen to, a little butchers at that?
Yeah. I've listened to most of the streams that you did. Well, all of them. Yeah. What was your? Did I miss anything about? You was getting me in after you finished your theory, wasn't you, about Papa Hemp? Did you have anything else to add?
No, I think that was my theory. I think is probably the general consensus to most sort of human beings with a brain. These kids were psychologically and physically abused, but not in any of the things they said. It was by this guy, who their mother's boyfriend, who they had been on holiday with and been taught to say this because they thought when they were going to come back. Apparently, now I haven't seen it, apparently there's a snippet of a video, so I can't say whether it's factual or not, but apparently there's a snippet of a video where the boy says something along the lines of baby blood makes me feel bad, but hemp makes me feel super strong, or something like that. And I think this guy thought he was going to use this whole thing to turn it into a hemp empire business.
Right. That's everything about this. I must admit, it took me quite a long time to get my head around the dynamics of it, like who was who and what the motivations were. But obviously, I don't think you can ever really understand what's going on in these people's heads. It's kind of... But did you not get the impression the first time you saw the police interview with the children that they were it was all bullshit?
Oh, well, the first thing I saw was a 25-minute video spliced from probably what would make it seem the most genuine. It wasn't until I found that then I kind of got into watching the whole of the interviews as a whole and coming to my conclusions about them.
Yeah, but it just seemed very unreal, didn't it? You know, the way that the children were talking and everything that they were saying about the locations and.
Oh, well, 48 people and a disabled toilet. I mean, the difficulty I had with that part was it was comical. There was a comical element to it, and of course, it's a very sensitive subject because you have to, you know, although it's not sexually, which is. I suppose most people would, or, well, yeah, I would say it's the worst kind of abuse of a child. It's still psychological and physical abuse. To make this child tell a story where, you know, he's had to picture this in his head. He's had to go, yeah, do you know what? There was 46 people in the disabled toilets waiting to stick plastic willies up my bum.
Like you said, even though you've just said that, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, doesn't it? But these are things that these people have said to these children. They've made them say it, haven't they?
Yeah, well, they have. They thought it was okay to put that kind of horrible imagery into a kid's mind, which makes it very, very dark and very psychologically traumatic.
It's almost as because you think, like, you know, thank God, I was saying thank God too, but you're saying thank God it wasn't real, you know, it's all bullshit. But then once you've sort of calmed down and you think, oh, it's not real, and then you think, well, hang on a minute, these guys were telling these kids it was real. What's actually worse?
Well, I think if it was real, it would be worse, but it's still pretty fucking bad to tell them it was real.
Yeah, I think I think it's a kind of I like social commentaries and things and looking at things and how they reflect how certain situations and events are a reflection on the world, and this highlighted how fucked up we are at the minute with all these things running around and how it all became viral, and then people started jumping on the bandwagon, getting the wrong end of the stick. Innocent people got, you know, berated. The police got involved, the media.
Oh, some people have had to change their identities off the back of this.
Yeah, if it wasn't for my computer deciding to just completely fucking break down, which I'm really pissed off about, I had a link that I was going to send everybody in the chat, which was the judge's written sort of conclusions of the case.
Isn't that, it's like a 36-page document, though, isn't it?
Yeah, have you already read it?
No, I've heard about it, though.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. But, well, it's quite... I was gonna send it people, ask people to look at it in the chat, and then they can make their own minds up.
What's your personal take on it, Andy? Because obviously that's why you're here, to see if your view conflicts at all to mine.
I don't. If I'm being honest, I don't know. I do have a theory, but it's a bit out there. I think I've mentioned it to you already, but I can't stand up and say I know what's 100% has happened, because nothing seems to make total sense. The motivations behind these people still confuse me, but
the main motivation, in my opinion, was full custody of the child.
No, I'll have that, but why go to these extreme lengths? Usually what people do in these situations is just claim domestic violence, not fucking brainwash the kids into thinking they've had fucking plastic dildos shoved up their asses.
Yeah, but that's the thing as well, because honestly, it's a difficult part of the whole conversation to discuss, but the kids both had, well, the girl had scars and the boy had bruising on their bottoms, but they hadn't seen their dad in 2 months before this happened, before these statements were made. So they hadn't actually been near their father for the I believe, and this is probably the darkest thing and it's difficult talk about in the case, but I don't think they were sexually abused, but I think they were spanked hard or whipped with a belt.
That's what it says in the court document.
Really?
Well, no, they were.
Just call me Lord Justice Adam.
Well, no. It says in the court document, and when my computer finally decides to load it up, and my restraint at not smashing my computer up repeatedly at the minute is quite remarkable. But when it finally gets working, I'll send the link, and then people can have a read. But
this is very, very interesting comment that Snake Logan, who is a new subscriber and knows a lot more about this case than you or I do, has said as well. Another motivation is that there was a number of people involved in planning this, and the idea was to monetize the videos within the conspiracy community. And if you actually look, the videos like supporting the parents, or sorry, not the parent, the mother and Papa Hemp, they have a lot more views than the general majority of common sense videos.
Right, that does. Do you know, it's funny. It does kind of make a bit of sense, that, because I think there's more to it than what I'm seeing. There's something here. There's something here that I'm not. There's some motivations and something going on here that hasn't been fully known. To people to go to such extreme lengths, like we've said, is a bit odd. Do you get what I mean? Why would you? Why would you even come up with this shit?
Why would you put your children through that? That's the worst part.
I must admit, though, I was listening to an interview with these two people, with the parents, and on the way to, it was like an old video at the time before all this had gone to court, and at the time the person interviewing made the video, they were believed to be true. What they were saying was true. And I remember just listening, and obviously I had the added bonus of knowing they were bullshitters, but you just knew that there was something. The way that they were talking was just not. They seemed to have quite mental health issues. They weren't quite a full shilling, if you get what I mean. I couldn't think of a really politically correct way of saying it.
Do you know, okay.
Fucking nuts is one way of saying it, but I always try to be a bit more analytical than that.
Well, no, do you know, there's so many things throughout the actual stories as well, and things I didn't mention at the time, because the way I wanted to sort of convey it to everyone in the audience is that I want people to be able to form their own opinions and hear things as I heard them, to the extent I skipped through a lot of the boring bits, but they talk about going to Glastonbury and how Glastonbury is fun, the kids and the mother and that. It's like they were proper hippie parents. There's photos of them in cannabis fields and things like that. And you know, what angers me to an extent about that is there's plenty of people out there that smoke weed who are very respectable and very responsible, but these people were just out there hippie, you know. If you're eating everything with weed in it, like the kids talked about a soup that was made with like, oh, we used to have vegetables, but now we just have hemp in our soup. Fuck it. I mean, that's not a nice soup. If I'm gonna have hemp, I'll smoke it and then I'll make a soup with nice things in it, with fucking meat. With meat and potatoes and chorizo, celery. I really want some soup now.
Okay. Are you just hungry?
a little bit. But what I mean is, like, these guys, they were proper hippies. The kids talk about going to Glastonbury with them and stuff. Well, maybe, no, not hippies, because hippies would never do something so dark to their kids. They were new age, fucked up, wannabe, new age, you know, super health freaks. And those kind of people are so pretentious, they think they can get away with this sort of thing.
Yeah, you're probably onto something there. I mean, it's like, you know, you've had a pop at vegans and all that, and
What do you mean I've had a pop of vegans?
You have had a pop at
actually, vegans, in fact, not even just during this kind of thing, but we have... There was a quote, and it's one of my favourite quotes ever made, and it was during a stream. Both you and I were very drunk, but someone, it was before they had the replay of the chat window, but someone someone quoted my comment that said, "You asked me how do you know if someone's a vegan? And I replied, they'll fucking tell you.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, well, I mean, there is a certain type of vegan that are complete wankers, that do it not because they think they're doing the right thing. Going slightly off topic here, but they don't do it because they think they're doing the right thing. They do it because they think they've got a concept in the mind of them, the great person that can only do right and everybody else is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a really dangerous path to go upon. If you think you are totally right in anything, you're fucked. That's when evil begins, when you think you're right and you have authority over the truth. True wisdom arises when you realise you know fuck all. It's like a paradox. You realise you know fuck all, and that's when you become wise. And these people who think they know the truth about anything, you think you're onto something about this hippie mentality. It's like the hippie movement. It was like a shift in consciousness that came at the right time.
There's elements of the hippie movement that I can get down with.
No, you are born 100%. You were born in the wrong fucking era, Adam. You're a man out of time. You should have been born in the fucking 60s. You're a little bit chilled and a little bit hippie like, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Do I think you what? Sorry,
too relaxed.
No, I wouldn't say too. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think you can be too relaxed. You can only be too relaxed if you're that relaxed where you disintegrate into a corpse.
No, but things still make me angry. Miscarriages of justice.
Yeah, I know
make
that.
Me angry.
I've seen you play FIFA.
Yeah, but not just about like this kind of thing, like someone abusing their own children. Those things still make me angry. But at the same time, in my own existential universe.
What's existential mean?
What's happening just around me in my existence.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that.
Okay. So in that universe, there's no point getting fucking upset about anything because nothing bad happens.
No, you're right. And I read it in a book once. You know, when you get upset about, and people get like upset about like misjustices and things like that, it's natural, and in some cases it's healthy. Yeah, good, you know.
But that's why things with kids angers me so much, because kids they're not like you and I. You know, we're both mid-30s, more or less independent men. Well, I don't know why I said more or less, but independent men. We control our futures. We don't need anyone else to look out for us. But remember when you were a kid, your parents were your guiding light.
That wasn't entirely accurate what you just said, but we'll talk about that later.
What do you mean? What?
About us being... I'm going a bit too...
Independent.
I was reading... Yeah, nobody's independent in this planet. Do you hunt your own food? No.
All right. I'm dependent on a fucking supermarket. All right. Next, you're going to tell me that the government are lizards dressed in human skin.
But it's true. If you think about it, I've been reading shitloads about this, and there is something in it. If you think about it, you suck on society's teat, so to speak. For instance, you don't hunt your own food. You don't go out there and fucking catch a deer and eat it. You have to rely on somebody else to do that for you. You pay overinflated prices.
How often do you eat venison?
Food. Sorry?
How often do you eat venison?
That was just an example. I meant, all right, you don't go out and kill your own fucking cow, do you? And grow your own food and provide your own entertainment and stuff. It's all done for you.
I don't provide. I provide entertainment for loads of other people all the time, and it's my own entertainment too.
Yeah, I mean, we're going off topic, but I was just kind of saying that's something we can talk about for another time. But I've got this kind of thing going on at the minute about like how suppressed we are as humans in society. We're a pretty fucked species at the moment, and you only have to put the news on for 5 minutes, and you know, you'd have to agree with me, wouldn't you?
Well, no, not necessarily.
No, so you don't think we're a fucked up species?
No, it's just the way you went. You have to agree with me. I don't think everyone has to agree with you.
No,
It's-
but like
you're-
I would
you're-
say anybody in the chat
that doesn't agree with you is wrong.
No, I did say earlier.
Okay, Starling.
I did say earlier that if you think you're right, you're fucked. I'm not saying I've got the ultimate, but yeah, we kill millions within the last 100 years. We've killed millions, hundreds of millions of our own for no reason, for reasons we can't even remember. I'm going off.
Oh yeah, well
I have had a bottle of wine.
That's why That's why you and I are here today. That's the things that happen to innocents that are unfair. That's what makes us angry. That's why we believe they're worth streaming about.
Yeah. But the point is, so you don't think the state that we are as a species at the moment is incredibly dysfunctional? We just don't work as a species. You must agree, surely.
Well, I think everything needs to be comparative.
It's comparative to what?
Well, 200, 300 years ago.
Right, but so
we're still evolving as a species.
Oh yeah, I know. Eventually, we'll all reach where we're supposed to be.
Well, murder rates are down a lot lower than they would have been a few hundred years ago. And things like that, like total miscarriages of justice. The fact that we take an interest in something like, say, for example, To Catch a Predator, or this Hampstead Hoax case, is because we're a part of a society where these things are now able to come into the public view. Before, this kind of horrible child abuse, alright, no one would have, without kind of the technology and the knowledge that we have now, this case would have never come to light. But as a species, we're probably better overall to our fellow man than we ever have been.
Yeah, things in some aspects, things are getting better. This is the thing. It's like I'm not quite sure. If you want to find evidence for the fact that we're getting worse as a species, it'll be there. If you want to find evidence for the fact that we're getting better, that'll also.
Now
be
we're
there.
rooting out the worst of the species.
Yeah, and social media, like what we're doing now, is social media, isn't it? We're talking on Skype and it's on YouTube. People, talking to people, and we've all got a similar interest.
I do know talking to people, Andy. I've done it a few times.
Sorry?
Nothing.
You what?
It was your northern turn of phrase, but I took it literally. When you went, talking to people.
Oh right.
You know, talking to people. That's what we do in Manchester.
Since when have Manchester people spoke Cockney?
That got really Cockney, didn't it? As well. Hang on, I just try and do your voice like Avid Merriam used to do Mel B now. Oh, talking to It's just getting more and more Cockney. Fucking hell! I've literally become Tom Hardy's character in Peaky Blinders. I can't get out of any accent that's not that. I'm trying to think. Manchester, talking to people.
What the fuck are you doing?
I don't know anymore. I would like to hear, although actually I'm going to get my other bottle of wine from the other room, but I would like to hear your
My crazy theory.
Yeah, entertain the masses with your crazy theory whilst I.
All right. Well, I'm going to wait till you get back. But
well, entertain them with something. Plug your channel. It's been and you need it now because.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just for anybody that doesn't know, I had a channel. Well, I still have a channel, but I had a YouTube channel that was taken down a few weeks ago, where I analysed predators. Mainly caught on To Catch a Predator, but I do true crime things as well. Apparently, and don't persecute me for this, I was the instigator of harassment and bullying on a particular sex offender. So my channel was taken down. But if you click on my link, I'll just say hi in the chat, and you'll be able to find my channel. And you can subscribe to it if you've not already. But I'm pretty sure everybody that wants to, that's in the chat, has done so already. There's some pretty good videos, I must admit. I've done some good ones. Some are better than others, but it's pretty good stuff, some of it. If you're interested in, like, trying to get inside these people's heads, and it's related to what we're talking about now, you know, child predators and people who just seem to not have any particular regard for children. I mean, it's something that's kind of inconceivable, really, isn't it? It's fucking quite amazing that people. I suppose that's why this is so disturbing, is because of what the children have been subjected to, and it's summarised in the judges summing up. I tried to send you a link in the chat to the document.
In the judges summing up. I'm sorry.
What's fucking funny about that?
It's just a brilliant turn of phrase. Summarised in the summing up.
Oh, right, okay.
Cheers. But anyway, keep going.
Well, no, I've lost my fucking train of thought now because of you.
I'm sorry.
I don't even know what I was up to. Right, forget it. You carry on.
No, you were talking about the document regarding the child case.
Was I?
Yeah. Silence.
Yeah, I've completely lost where I was up to.
Right, apologies. You see how easy it is to throw Andy off track. Just talking about the summing up of the summons in the summary room. Anyway. I'm back. Welcome back. Thanks, Andy.
I'm still here.
Yeah, but you're not saying anything.
Well, I've kind of, like I said, I've lost where I was up to then. Someone's going to have to remind me in the chat before I got fucking rudely interrupted. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what my potential theory is, that this videos that we were talking about the other week about paedophile rings within the British, well, BBC, BBC with Jimmy Savile
and the government.
Yes.
Now, I don't deny that they may exist, but in regards to this case that we've been talking about in the main part this evening, I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think it's a load of...
No, it might not be. It is an interesting theory, though, but that's the problem with something like this, is it's that misty what's actually gone on. You can't, it's very difficult to separate the truth from the lies with this case, but there's a suggestion that it's like a false flag thing. So, and we're really getting deep into conspiracies now, but because, and I do believe in false flag things, I'm not necessarily saying 9/11, but they do exist. It has been documented throughout history, and what they're saying is that potentially this has been orchestrated by certain people, and then it gets brought up as to being like quite a big case, and there's all these people involved, there's all these people running around doing these sadistic things involving cults, and then it gets shot down as being absolutely ludicrous. And what that means is it gives less validity to the claims that it is actually happening in actually places of power, in real institutions. So it's very easy to dismiss it then, because you would look at a case like this and you say, well, it's all nonsense. If you get what I'm saying, it's like a false flag thing. Do you get where I'm coming from?
No, that is, I actually mentioned when I first started this stream that you had a rather interesting theory, and that is a completely sort of different way to look at it. But yeah,
because there may be something in it. It's a little bit out there, hidden in plain sight. Yes, great way of putting it. It's a little bit out there, and I get that. But so is this whole case. And the one thing that I couldn't get my head around and still can't is, and we've already talked about it, is why would two people come out with such a crazy fucking tale? Now, there will be people out there, and there are people out there that will pretty much do anything for money and for a bit of fame and whatever. There's a lot of shallow, twisted people on this planet, in case you already... I'm sorry to be patronising, we all know that. But look at the McCanns, right? I believe they had something to do with the disappearance of their daughter. I don't think they just fucking murdered her because they felt like it. But you've got two doctors here that undoubtedly know more than they're letting on.
Well, I would say that the McCanns selling Madeline off into some kind of paedophile ring is a more plausible story than there really being a satanic paedophile ring run by these kids' children.
Just as a kind of, this is my, we'll not go off topic too much because this isn't about that, but my theory about the McCanns is they drugged her because they wanted to go out in the piss and didn't want to get a babysitter, or they accidentally killed her and then hid the body. That's my theory. I don't think this. I think anybody with a brain can see that it's not all as it seems. But time for another.
And I must repeat, that is Andy's personal view on the Madeline McCann case.
Yeah, that is my personal view. I don't know the facts. I wasn't there. It's just a theory, but it's something I actually believe.
But in regards to what you were saying, in regards to this, the Hampstead story perhaps being some kind of deflection to make these kind of stories when they come forward seem less viable.
Yes.
And yeah, I can see it. It's like taking the story of the boy who cried wolf and playing it to your advantage.
Yeah, exactly. It would make sense, and I've got to be really careful how I say this because I watch. There's a great documentary, but I think I mentioned it in another. You should watch it as well, Adam. It's called Unacknowledged, and it's on Netflix. It's mainly about UFOs, but it just talks about how. And this is where I'm coming from with this, we're suppressed as humans, because we are. It's about false flags and how the government, really, everything that we see and hear is all controlled. The stories that the media bring out, they're brought out at certain times to keep us thinking a certain way. Why do we think smartphones are so prevalent now? Because it stops you thinking about the most important things in life and keeps your mind occupied with shite. I must buy this, I must buy that, I must know what fucking next door's dog's eating for his dinner. Complete nonsense. And we're more powerful than we realise as humans. We've got a lot more potential than we could ever understand. And all this bullshit, it's just to stop us from being truly creative, etc. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Well, everything in moderation. Because if you start going, right, fucking hell, I'm going to stop watching telly, that makes me better than you. And the next thing you know...
No, but you're saying there that that makes me better than you, then that's bollocks, because then you've adapted the wrong attitude, and then anybody that does that, then they're a fucking idiot. You know, anybody that thinks they're better than anybody, oh, I do this,
But
I'm
this
better
is
than
how
you.
this whole Hampstead hoax came about. It's all about superiority complexes. It's all about people going, oh, do you know what? My way of life is better than your way of life. And
Well,
that's why
potentially, yeah.
That's why I don't give a fuck. I'm not, like, you say I'm a hippie, but I'm not bothering anyone. I'm not saying
No, if
I'm
everybody was a
not
hippie,
saying
the
you
world
should
would
be
be
like
a lot
me.
better place.
In fact, people shouldn't be like me. You shouldn't smoke and drink as much as me because it's bad for your health. But just do what you want and don't bang on about it to everyone else. And then people will probably be happier.
Oh, definitely, yeah. There's, you can't really argue with with that, can you? If
Exactly.
everybody was a hippie, the world would be, not that you are, but if everybody was, the world would be a great place, wouldn't it?
Well, if everyone was a bit more chilled and a bit more loving towards their fellow men, I think that's a possibility. That's the next step of evolution. Maybe I should start my own religion, and you see, and then the bad cycle starts, because now I'm the fucking cult leader, and all of you bastards are drinking my Kool-Aid. Sorry,
but that's when an ego develops, isn't it? When you think you've got it better than other people,
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference. I don't think I have. I know I have, and that's why I don't need to go on about it. No, I'm just sowing the seeds of my
made
cult.
a good point. I only start watching telly because I don't want to be bombarded with rubbish. I'm not better than anybody. That's the way. I don't watch I watch very little TV anymore. And
see what I said about the non-TV watchers? Watch out for them.
But it just because it just doesn't do anything for me like it used to. I feel like I'm almost wasting my time.
Do you know what though? Like, because I live in Spain, I don't have, like, you can turn on, even if you haven't got Sky or whatever, you can turn on your TV and you can watch 30 odd channels, including Dave, which always has something decent on. Or it did.
Just reruns of Top Gear.
Well, it's worse things to watch. Here, I don't have any choice. There's only one channel that you can switch into English, so I only get to watch American Pickers and Storage Hunters. And to be fair, when I do get to watch those things, I quite indulge in the low intelligence of it all, and just, well, that sounds rather patronising or pretentious. Not the low intelligence, but just it's just nice to watch something where people are just buying things for cheap and selling them for more.
You say so. But the thing is, one thing that you should always remember, it's like, as you get older, most people, well, not most, but generally, you're supposed to get wiser. That's the whole point of life. And then obviously things that used to entertain you don't anymore, because you just outgrow it. So it'd be a bit hypocritical to run around and go, oh, you twat, you watch TV, I bet, I don't anymore. Well, that was me a few years ago. It's just about realising you just gain wisdom, and as you get older, it's like the stuff I used to watch. I think I used to watch films repeatedly. I'd find one film. I mean, to be fair, I'm doing it. I do watch Star Wars repeatedly, so I can't fucking call anyone.
But there's certain films. In fact, there's films that I even know aren't good films that I've just watched repeatedly.
Yeah, but The Room's different.
Not even necessarily The Room. It's like there was a film. It was really, really bad, but it was just so easy watching that I watched it like 3 times.
But it's. Do you remember the mini documentary you put on when I was at yours? The one about The Wire, when Alexis Sale and Charlie Brooker were talking about The Wire.
Yeah.
And it was either Alexis Sale. I think it was Alexis Sale who said, I like Alexis Sale because He was in The Young Ones, and I kind of liked him in that. And that's one of my favourite ever shows. That because it was like when I was growing up. Sorry.
He's a very intelligent comedian.
He's very intelligent. Yeah, him and Stephen Fry as well. He's one of my favourites. I don't know what Stephen Fry's got to do with anything, but I just really like Stephen Fry.
Charlie Brooker is one of the best writers of our generation.
Well, I only really know Black Mirror of Charlie Brooker's, and obviously I'm a huge fucking
you really
adore
should. I think
Black Mirror.
I don't know if you and that would sound patronising. You should try and watch it, at least the first episode, or the hour-long pilot that's on YouTube of Nathan Barley, which is Charlie Brooker and Chris Morris wrote together. It's very funny. But if I tell you the premise, it probably won't sound that funny because I grew up being in and around sort of the London area and I kind of knew these people. But I expect in Manchester and those kind of places you would have had them as well. But it sort of set... Nathan Barley was written by Charlie Brooker, but about hipsters before hipsters were a thing. And Chris Morris, who also wrote the fantastic satirical comedy Four Lions, the movie. And this was the thing they wrote together years ago, and it basically predicted everything that... Actually, you can see how Black Mirror came about from that, although it predicts it in a much more present and soon-to-happen sense than perhaps Black Mirror does. It predicts like the people's personalities and this sort of pretending to work in media even though you're living off mummy and daddy's trust fund and living in the outskirts of London. And
yeah, I might give it a go. I mean, the reason I kind of mentioned it, Black Mirror, is when Charlie Brooker was in that show and he was talking about The Wire and he said it was one of his favourite shows and he was saying, I think it might have even been Alexi Sale that said, there's this TV show that most people have not even watched, which is one of the greatest things that's ever been put on film. And yet people are watching Paris Hilton do reality shows on MTV. And I just thought that really hit home with me. And even though I already
that was David Simon that said that.
Was it?
The creator of The Wire.
Well, it doesn't matter who fucking said it. The point is, it's very, very true. If you think about it, the shite that we are fucking filling our minds with, and the shit that's on TV, like The Only Way is Essex, and what's that shit they have on TV, that Super Sweet 16, and My Baby's Mum's a fucking virgin, or whatever the fuck. I don't fucking know.
My Baby's Mum's a virgin, I would watch that.
Well, I wouldn't. But you get what I mean, all the shit that they put out, and it kind of makes you like ashamed, and I suppose it's just when you're getting older, you look at younger generations and go, you don't know shit. And it's always been the same, hasn't it? You know, obviously you're not born.
You could say, oh, well, I don't watch films, but I read books. And they're like, well, I don't read books, but I fucking go out. I think there's a balance to be found in everything.
No, there is. It is about balance. And you've got to have, this is the thing, isn't it? You've got to have, there's a guy I follow on YouTube, if anybody's not aware of it. He's called...
And Round the Streets.
Yeah, actualize.org. He's called Leo, where he does a load of videos, spirituality and self-improvement. And some of his stuff, he's brilliant. He's going to be a really big name soon. He is already, but he's going to get bigger and bigger because he really knows what he's talking about.
He's going to get bigger and bigger in your hands.
Yeah, so the point is he's not... I don't think he seems to miss a certain element within his teachings, which is you need to have a bit of fun. You know, sometimes just if life can get, if you let it, life will just drag you down with it. With all the shit that goes on and what we're talking about today, we've not even talked about it that much. It's just you've got to just have a laugh at people like Lorne Armstrong sometimes, and that's why Lorne, we won't go into that too much, that's why Lorne's an interesting case, because he embodies everything. You have the serious nature to him, you have the total comedy element to him, you have the social commentary, you have the disturbing part about him being a sex offender. It's all contained within this one person.
Yeah.
That's why I find it interesting, because when you're bogged down with what he tried to do in the chat log, you can just go back to the silliness and just have a laugh. And don't take life too seriously.
Lorne is the epitome of reality television that other people are yet to understand.
Yeah, and you just kind of made me realise something there that I've not thought about as well in all the fucking time that I've been making videos about Lorne, is that he's not that well. No one knows about him. No one. The only people that I know that know about him are because I've told him. The only friend that I've got that knows about him is you, because we met via YouTube. So it's kind of, it's like your own little secret. It makes it all that much more better in a way, doesn't it? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I suppose. But then a huge kind of community created around that. And it's the same to an extent with these conspiracy theorists. With people that could
conspiracy theories are huge.
But then it depends on the conspiracy theory as well, because there's some that are a lot more plausible than others. But you say, for example, this thing with the children and trying to cover it up, and that's the conspiracy theory, that the children and actually, let's try and look at it from the other perspective for a moment and go, and let's believe that everything that happened to them was true, and it's too fantastical to even entertain. But like everything, all of these people met up to dildo the boy up the arse in the changing rooms at East Finchley swimming pool. I think I have found why it is comical, because I think if that had happened, it would be so horrible. Like, not everyone would have survived the escapade at East. I mean, what happened when you met up with those 30 guys at Salford Keys swimming pool?
Well, I'm still in contact with them now. In fact, we've got another meeting there in a few hours, so if you don't mind, I'm going to get going.
Yeah. You get ready for those bastards. How long have we been going now? Not that, only 45 minutes, but maybe we should. We kind of dabbled with television for a bit and talking about that. Have you got a bit further with The Wire, Andy? I think we should move away from the children. And
I never like moving away from children.
Well, yes, and that's why you're in the Guinness Book of Records for.
That's why my channel was deleted. I'll let you all in on a secret.
Jesus Christ. That's why you're in the Guinness Book of Records for restraining orders.
Luckily, the laws are very relaxed in the UK. You can get away with multiple felonies and never get put in prison.
Yeah. If they say to Andy, do you want to go to a penal colony? He says, if there's penals, I'll be there.
I'm going to try...
penis and juvenile. Penal colony. Let's send Andy to a penal colony. And sorry, I didn't need to explain that, did I?
No. The hunt was brilliant, by the way, in the chat. Anyway, what I'm going to try and do, my computer's loaded back up, and I'm speaking to you on my mobile at the minute, so I'm going to hang up and try ringing you back on Skype through your computer.
Jesus
if it doesn't
Christ,
work, shut up. We fucked it up before anyway. It doesn't matter, does it?
No, you did, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'll put it down. If it doesn't work, which it probably won't, I'll just call you back on my mobile phone, alright? Alright, cheers.
Alright, sweetie. Right, I just went silent again. I was like, oh, Andy's gone. We'll just go quiet. I'll keep live streaming. I'm just going to live stream the rest of my life, even the moments where I'm just...
Yay, it's working.
Is it?
Yes.
Alright.
That's better.
Is it now? Okay.
It's much, much better, yes. It means I don't have to have my horrible, sweaty phone in my ear. So, right. Anyway.
Yeah, so where were we up to? Yeah, I've got up to episode... I think I've just watched the episode called The Wire, which I believe was episode 6, and that's the episode that's kind of piqued my interest because I was getting a bit bored, if I'm being honest.
Oh, fucking hell. You're in for a treat now, though.
I am... It's took me a while, and I've had the only fucking reason I've stuck with it is because of you and that show that you made me watch about everybody going on about how great it is, and I thought there's got to be something in it. But it took me a while to get into Breaking Bad. You know, I had to watch that a couple of times. Like, I think I got bored of it after season 2 and stopped watching it, and then the last season or 2 of Breaking Bad is just fucking absolutely phenomenally brilliant.
I think that season 6 the last season?
Breaking Bad season 5.
Oh, okay. Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure, yeah.
Okay, then maybe it must have been season 4. I was literally... well, in fact, because I was on 4 3-day patterns at work at the time, because that was when I was flight attendant. So I would finish on a Sunday evening and have until Wednesday until I went back to work. So I would wait up on a Sunday night to watch Breaking Bad the hour after it had been shown on television in the United States. So I'd like stay awake until 6 in the morning to watch it. That's how excited I got about that show. No other show has ever made me to that point. I've done it on a few episodes of The Walking Dead, to be fair, but no other show has made me that excited about it.
No, it is. Do you know what the good thing about it? Can you imagine? I watched it when it was all already available, so I binge watched it all one after the other. Can you imagine how good that was?
Yeah, well, I watched it through again afterwards, but yeah, the first time just waiting to see what happened was insane because it's just, I mean, it's insanely good television. But The Wire, I would say, in regards to everything I've ever watched in TV, the things that have held my attention the most have been Breaking Bad, followed by The Wire.
Is there any... Can I just ask people in the chat, is there anybody here that... And Adam won't watch it because he's a fucking idiot. Battlestar Galactica, the remake. Has anybody in the chat watched it? And if anybody's looking for some new TV series to watch, please believe me, you don't even have to be a science fiction fan. It's the problem is it sounds ridiculous. Battlestar Galactica, you think what a load of shit, but
I don't think it does sound ridiculous though. I was a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan.
Yeah, because that got voted quite. That got.
Now they're mental about it. Like it's one of the most renowned TVs.
Yeah, it's always up there. If you do one of them Google searches, it's always in the top 10, top 20. Battlestar Galactica got taken off Netflix about a year ago. It was on there for a few years because sometimes they put shows on and then get rid of them. It did. I think it was 5 seasons, but it's just remarkable. You do a search and it'll always be up there as one of the greatest shows ever. But yeah, just a recommendation. But yeah, we got onto. How have we got on from talking about what we were talking about onto TV?
Because we needed to lighten the mood. It was all getting a little bit dark.
Well, of course, it wasn't going to get light-hearted with the subject matter, was it?
I think it's been a nice sort of series. Well, not nice might not be the right phrase there, but it's been a nice series. Not just nice again.
What's babbling on about? Well, you can babble on a little longer.
It's been an interesting series.
Fill my glass up with wine, all right.
You see, when I did the final part of this, 30 people came to watch. It was insane. That's the most I've ever had on this channel, I think, to come and see. So it's gone down pretty well, but it has been a rather dark subject matter. But I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on it, and of course I don't dispute anyone else's views. I'm just glad that we live in a world where we can put our own views forward and anyone can say whatever they want, whenever they want, without fears of repercussion. And the trouble is now repercussion comes from one or two sides. You either get the horrible right wing side or the horrible left wing side, and everyone should be just somewhere in the middle. And that's if everyone just said, all right, I'll listen to you. If I don't agree, I'll say. And if we, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Where's Andy?
So I don't know what you're talking about. So am I supposed to carry on?
Just talk about some television.
I've had some amusing dating updates.
Oh, let's hear about that. I'd like to hear about that.
So we did a stream a couple of weeks ago to say I was gonna take the plunge, so to speak, and
Andy's out there. He's on Grindr.
Venture into online dating, which I did. I think it was earlier in the week. Was it Monday or Tuesday? In fact, if you rename the title of the stream "Dating Update," the watching people will probably decrease. But but anyway,
well, Andy's
sorry.
Andy's dating tips.
Andy's dating tip. Oh, views have just gone up. Tinder or Bumble? What's Bumble?
Do you know what Bumble is? I've accidentally named it Andy's DTing tips. Jesus.
You have actually renamed it as well?
Yeah, Andy's dating tips. Right, everyone, get your cocks out, because Andy's about to suck them off. Now, Andy, how was your dating?
My palm is sore. Yeah, well, it was anyway, so there's no difference. Yeah, so I had to you have to be careful what photographs you put on. So I got a little advice from, mainly female people, obviously, because it would make sense. Anyway, so the thing that's kind of I've had quite a lot. I'm going to sound like a tosser. I'm sorry, everybody, but maybe I am a tosser. Who knows? But I've had a lot of responses, right? Some from people that are alright. Well, not responses. I've not sent messages to anybody. People are sending me smiles all the time. But a small minority of the people that are sending me messages, I'm almost offended.
Oh, yeah, because they're all big fat ladies.
Not but it sounds horrible, doesn't it? But I'm thinking, hang on a minute. You think I'm going to respond to you? Does that mean that
I warned you about the world of online dating, though. The men outnumber the women hugely, so the women have a much better choice. However, at the same time, just pick one of these ladies.
Pick one? What are you about?
It's time.
So what?
For backdoor loving.
Nah. Anyway, so some people have messaged me that I don't find particularly attractive that may be over the weight of 25 stone.
25? Alright, you didn't say that. Jesus Christ, this fucking...
Well, they don't put the weight on the profile app.
Do you remember the Ghostbusters cartoon?
Yes.
Do you remember there was the big fat thing?
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
No, I think it lived in someone's belt.
It lived in someone's what?
In someone's belt, but then it grew bigger or something.
What are you going on about, man?
I don't know. Right. Imagine, have you ever seen the film What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
No.
What about anything with Jack Black?
No, I really like him.
Okay. Rosie O'Donnell?
No. Why? No.
Jesus. John Goodman.
Yeah, what about him?
Right, imagine a woman that looks like John Goodman.
What? Yeah, she's there. I've got her.
Right, that's what you should be aiming for.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm glad I've got a bit of realism. But I can't help it, right? It's like I did mention this when we last did a video. When these girls, I've had some attractive girls like sending me messages, but I'm very fucking fussy, right? But I can't help it. The thing is, I'm not comfortable being on my own. I'm not going to get with anybody unless they're fucking perfect. I don't mean they've got to be fucking Rihanna, but I've got to be 100% happy. So, a couple of the people that have been messaging me, are like, oh, they're alright, but I'm not too keen on the nose. So I'm like, right, fuck that off. But I've had girls messaging me like, hi Andrew, what you up to? If you want to chat, let me know. And they're just, oh, I'm thinking, you think that I'm gonna like get with you? What? Are my photos that bad?
You're angry that they've said a nice message to you. I don't.
I know. I'm totally open to the possibility that I'm a tosser, and please feel free to say. But I'm also offended. I don't.
Any message that anyone that says like you don't have to reply. You just.
I know. I don't. I'm not replied telling them that they're fucking stupid. I'm telling you, it kind of inadvertently gets me confidence down because I'm thinking.
I'm disappointed though.
Why?
Because you're looking at it the wrong way. You're going, oh, well, it gets my confidence down. Why shouldn't these women be allowed to message anyone they should? Why shouldn't you be allowed to message a woman that looks like a supermodel? Like, alright, you don't have to reply. That's that. It's the internet. But to take offence that they're messaging you, like, I would rather have 100 ugly women message me than one hot. No, that's a bad.
What are you on about now, man?
No, right. Listen, like you should take it as a compliment that any of them message you because it's.
People in the chat are saying we're really loud. I don't know how that's happened, guys. We've not changed the settings. Apologies, you'll have to just turn it down. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Maybe it's because Adam's talking that much crap that it's just got louder and louder.
I appreciate it. Just take it as a compliment. You don't have to reply. They're gonna be. They probably copy and pasted that message to every man on the website.
Yeah, I just it's an echo. Right, I'll try turning my. I have had technical issues tonight. No, but you're right, and it's not like I'm sat there getting angry and messaging them saying, how dare you? But it does kind of like, I'm thinking, it'd be a little bit like me. No, that's going a bit too far. No, right, I'll just stop there. But also, I've been a bit, there's a couple of girls I'm messaging at the minute that are pretty nice. But yeah, one's got I'm a bit funny with noses. Get what I'm saying?
No.
I don't. I can't. Listen, this is I'm allowed to be. I'm also feeling bad because I don't want to sound like a chauvinistic, evil fucking bastard. But I'm very fussy. Noses are a bit of a thing for me. If someone's got a funny nose, it's not my thing. But that's just my personal preference. It doesn't mean I'm being like horrible, does it?
Fucking Jimmy Nail or something.
What do you mean?
Like a big crooked nose.
Just pretty much. One of them's got like this bizarre. Not only has she got a hook nose, which is not my favourite anyway. Like the girl on Spaceballs. Have you seen Spaceballs?
A long time ago.
Never mind. But anyway, it's also like huge.
But you're entertaining her.
You having it?
Well, I don't really understand. She's got a massive hook nose with another hook at the end.
It's not quite that bad, but I don't
She's
like.
the only
My
woman
point
under
is,
25
it's very
saying
fussy,
this.
right? It's like there's people at work interested in this girl.
What, because of her nose?
No, I'm saying there's always opportunities for me to like go out on dates and be with people. I'm not to say
Yeah,
some kind of superstar, because clearly I'm fucking not.
Let's exclude those men and just
Yeah.
talk about the ones you're trying to
Well, you know. But the point is, I'm that like comfortable being on my own. I'm not fucking arsed. Do you get what I mean?
Well, yeah.
It's like I'm not gonna break. I quite enjoy my life. I have a decent job, comfortable place to live. I do, you know, I've got a lot of activities and shit. So why would I get with someone?
Water skiing, hopscotch.
I'm the hopscotch master.
That's what
Yeah,
all the
it's
kids
just I
say.
see a lot of people out there that are with people just for the sake of being with someone, and you're thinking, and there's nothing. I suppose there's nothing wrong with that, because some people are like, yeah, just, you know, doesn't matter. We'll just take it easy. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I think sometimes people just like, some people are just too afraid to be alone on themselves. I think it's important to spend time on your own, because otherwise you don't get to know yourself.
But yeah, I think that you know, sort of getting with someone is kind of the answer to a lot of people's problems, isn't it? You know, if you're feeling a bit down or whatever, if you think you get with someone, it kind of seems to be a solution, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, people do obsess over relationships, and that's not like this.
But it's very common, like 10 years or so ago, I was obsessed with finding someone, and I found someone, and I ended up getting my heart broken. But we've all been there, we've all been hurt, haven't we? It's part of growing up.
Well, the difference is we're sounding like a completely old man, though. It's like when you're a kid and you want to get with someone, it's literally for sexual gains and experience gains and to do all that stuff you've always wanted to do. And then you get older and it becomes more like companionship. So you're looking for a different kind of breed of person, like that kind of person that's desperate to be with someone. It's not as healthy as that kind of someone that's like, well, I've been on my own for long enough to understand that working as a couple means also working independently.
Yeah, but I mean, you're an independent guy. You've got your own play. Well, you can't. You live in a country where you don't know that many people, do you? You're quite comfortable in your own skin, aren't you? I think it's fair to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I won't lie. I mean, I'm not completely happy. I have visions of moving back to some kind of tiny coastal village in the UK at some point, and somehow, I don't know, maybe teaching Spanish, but I don't really like being a teacher. But just living somewhere, maybe winning the lottery and living somewhere in the UK, maybe down south because they get more sunshine.
One of the other things as well, which is kind of, it has given me, I must admit, going on this, overall, it's been positive so far within a week, this dating thing, because I've had, even though I've felt a little bit offended that some people think that they've got a chance with me, which does sound ridiculous when I say that, I've had a lot of response. I've had a lot of people contacting me, and so it's like, well, that's good. At least it's there if I want it, which I kind of already knew anyway. But the shit that people put is amazing. A lot of girls Their profile picture is a filtered. Is one of them filtered pictures.
What?
Do you know them filtered pictures I was talking about on Facebook when people have the bunny ears and it changes? It's like. Have you seen them? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
People have that as their main pictures on these dating sites.
Yeah.
There's fucking loads of them. I couldn't believe it. I knew that there'd be the odd one because I knew. But what I don't get is there's people at my place, girls that I know at work and whatnot, that are pretty girls and they have these filters as their main profile pictures. And I'm thinking, why? But these girls on this dating site that I'm on, which you have to pay for, so it's a decent one, their main profile picture is fucking these filtered pictures. I'm thinking, what fucking planet are you on? Have you ever sat down and thought about what you're doing? You know, you've got a fake picture. You're right, Amelia. It is a bit of fun to have bunny ears. It's only a bit, but to have, I just think, to have your main profile picture of one where you're basically being airbrushed, where your eyes are being made to look brighter, you're basically being made to look prettier. It's just not a good idea, is it? Do you agree, Adam, or am I getting too deep with it?
It's been a long time since I did internet dating, and to be fair, I didn't really see anyone with filters.
It's only really become that, you know, popular over the last few months.
Yeah. So I don't. It's tough because a lot of people are very self-conscious, so they probably feel that it's easier to put that picture than hope that. I mean, because everyone always puts the best picture of themselves up anyway, don't they?
Well, of course they do. Yeah.
As good as in that picture. So even if they do that, it's just kind of a different way of doing the same thing. And saying, okay, well, I look a bit like this. Hopefully you'll accept me if I look 65% like this picture. Well, to be fair, my picture, I look 65% like that picture, or I don't look quite as good in real life, so fuck it, let's meet up and play some parlour games.
Well, I think it's. I mean, what does everybody think in the chat? Can we have your opinions? Am I looking into it a bit too deep, or is it? Personally, I have said this before. I don't think it's good for the mental health of the girls using it. If you use these filters, you know, the key to life is self-acceptance. Not everybody. I don't look like Brad Pitt. You know, some girls don't look like Cheryl Cole. You've got to accept who you are and be happy with it. If you use these, a lot of people live through their online avatars, through Facebook, through Instagram, and all that. If you start using these pictures too much, it's going to have a negative effect on your life, in my opinion. You having it?
Oh, yeah, I guess so, but... well, it's just, it's not a topic that's particularly close to my heart. I don't really care, to be honest. I'll be curious to see how your online internet dating escapades unfold, but other than that...
Fair enough. Well, in that case, let's, yeah. Well, anyway, I've been doing alright anyway, so... Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll find John Goodman soon.
Well, you know, I'm not... It's weird because I don't really fucking care if I do or I don't, really. I think, like... It'd be nice to meet the right person, but I'm not that bothered. There's plenty of other stuff to do in life. I don't think finding Mr. or Mrs. Perfect is quite as important as the world would lead you to believe it is, if you get what I mean. Joan Goodman. You never, wouldn't that be funny if there was a girl called that? I don't think you get many younger people called Joan, do you?
Not in this day and age.
What's another one? Like Ethel. You don't get many Ethels, do you?
No, not of the younger generation. I used to know an Ethel, but she was an old lady. Nice lady, though. Ethel and Derek.
Doris. Yeah, that's another. Doris. Gertrude. Is anybody? Did you used to watch Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah, of course.
Have you seen that? You mean of course? Like I should. Almost pissed off. I thought you wouldn't know.
Yeah, of course I watched Beavis and Butthead.
There was one where they were. That was that guy that was always like getting on the wrong end of the situation that used to live next to him, and Mr. Anderson or something, I think he was called. And there was one bit where Beavis and Butthead were pretending to be girls so that guy didn't recognise them, and Beavis was like, they were in court or prison or something, and the prison guard was calling Beavis like by a different name because he gave a different name when he went in, like Beatrice he called himself, when Beatrice, oh Beatrice. Like, yeah, that's me. Oh, never mind. Oh Beatrice.
You the boys that were waking up in my tool shit.
Now wait just a minute. Waking up like a couple of old spider monkeys. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, so. Yeah, so there'll be another update in a while, one would imagine.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see. Maybe you finally find that really hot one, and then you turn up and get robbed.
Well, you never know. It's the thing is, I don't like
Vaginas.
Sorry?
Vaginas.
What about them?
You don't like vaginas.
Do I not?
That's what you just said.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. Everyone in the chat, did Andy not just say he doesn't like vaginas?
Vagnaz.
You can't even say, you can't even bring yourself to say the word. I understand, Andy. It's alright.
Skeleton Sisters just agree with it. I didn't say that, so sod off.
It's alright, we're gonna delete your dating application. We're gonna put Grindr on there. You'll be fine.
Nah. Don't really fancy it, really.
Too late now.
So, Andy, would you rather have a hot girl with a crappy personality or a not so hot that's a sweetheart? I'd rather have neither, to be honest. If I had to like pick one, it depends. I can't really answer that because it depends under what circumstances. Did I have to live with him forever, or you know, it depends how crappy the personality was and how not so hot the sweetheart was, if you get what I mean. So in other words, I can't answer your question. What do you reckon, Alan?
I think he would just go for the hot one and then complain.
No, I'm putting you. I'm giving that question to you. Presuming you were single, what would you do?
I would. Wait, what? A crappy hot girl with crap personality, or a not so hot who's a sweetheart? That's a very difficult question. It depends. It's like I'd need to know the intricacies of the situation. I mean, does the girl who's a sweetheart who's not so hot, does she still have some redeeming features? You know?
Yeah, Linda's just said girl next door. If it's girl next door, as in Dawn from The Office, her all day fucking long. Supermodels are not my sort of type. Is the Lily Allen girl, the cute girl. So yeah, sweetheart without a shadow of a doubt. So there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, too hot sometimes is too hot. Like if you take what everyone wants, like you want something with a bit of flaws in it or some curves at the least.
Yeah, as Noel Gallagher once said, true perfection has to be imperfect. But
or as Ed Sheeran said, was it Ed Sheeran or was it Bruno Mars? One of those two cunts.
One of those two tossers. What did they
all
say?
Your perfect imperfections.
Fucking. What a lot of shit that were.
What? It's the same
I fucking hate that fucking song. What a load of absolute drivel.
What? Oh, your perfect imperfection.
Your perfect imperfection. What the fuck? Who the fuck could write a song like that? I'm sorry, but there's something wrong.
I think that's a really nice
It's
line.
fucking it's fucking dreadful.
That line is what you just said, and yet you're angry about it.
No, it isn't.
I think
True perfection has to be imperfect. That's not what he sung. It was John Legend. Nearly is right. Thank you, Skeletons and Siski. It is a load of fucking
It
toss.
wasn't Ed Sheeran or Bruno Mars, it was John Legend. So
I don't give a shit if fucking Elvis came back, resurrected and sung that song. It's still a pile of fucking wank. Fucking awful song, that.
You hate
Be
the
banned
song,
from the radio.
But you still quoted a lyric from it.
I wasn't quoting a lyric from it. True perfection has to be imperfect. Where does it say that in that song?
All your perfect imperfections. How is that not the same fucking idealism?
It's the same meaning, but there's other problems I've got with that song. Melody, vocals, arrangement, musical instruments, the person, the fucking music video, the title of the song, the name of the person singing it, everything.
You hate John Legend.
Well, why has he called himself John fucking Legend? Is that his real name?
Yeah, but he's made some good songs. His name is, if you were going to give yourself a name in show business, what are you going to call yourself?
Johnny Rainbow.
Exactly. And that is so all the gays know that you will suck them off.
What else would I call myself that for?
Exactly, there's no other reason.
Johnny Rainbow.
Johnny Rainbow, Jesus. If we ever have show business careers,
but I fucking hate that song.
You can be Johnny Rainbow, and I'm going to be Cunty McGinty.
That's what you call a double act, isn't it?
Exactly. It's and this week, Les Miserables starring Johnny Rainbow and Cunty McGinty.
On Britain's Got Talent. McGinty. Why do Andy's dating tips seem like they come straight out of... What's that say?
I don't know, I need to scroll down. Our incest.
They're not really like tips, are they? It's just me ranting, to be honest. I'm not giving any tips. Well, no, I am. If you're a girl, don't put a filtered fucking photograph on your dating profile, because if you're anything like me, you'll just fucking ignore it. Even if that girl is good looking, I'm not interested.
Well, the thing is, Andy, I actually understand this reference because I'm quite a lot more cultured than you are.
Well, who isn't? But what?
But it's I don't actually understand what incels is, but r/something means the Reddit page, and the Reddit is the front page of the internet where the elite of the elite meets up to discuss their favourite topics. So of course, I have a Reddit account. But you've been accused of stealing your jokes from a Reddit account, yet I know that you are far too...
What jokes?
Far away from Reddit to have stolen your jokes from it, so take that.
I didn't realise I'd said any jokes.
Well, I don't think they were jokes, sorry, that was the wrong phrase. Your sentences sounded like they came from a Reddit group.
What sentences?
I don't. The words, Andy. Do you remember them?
I do know what words are, but I don't understand. Well, I'm not. The only time I've ever. I don't understand. Well, what I will say is I might as well hold my hands up and say I did steal the name Johnny Rainbow from a Simpsons episode. That's the only thing that I can. If that's where you mean.
Well, no, I don't know. I didn't know, but I would take it as a compliment. If someone said you were stealing this from our clickbait or something, I'd be like, yeah. Good.
Well, yeah, I mean, Johnny Rainbow, there's a really funny episode of The Simpsons, right, where Lisa, I think it's called Lisa's a Star or something, where she enters like America's Got Talent. It's fucking so funny. And she like, Homer becomes a manager and it all goes tits up, right? So Homer, out of spite, ends up managing this little lad. And he renames him and he calls him Johnny Rainbow. It's just so funny, but anyway.
I don't think I've seen that episode.
It's really funny. It's got like Lisa's a Star or something like that. Yeah, but it's just so funny. It's like it's a bit where like Miller fucking sings as well. Sorry. You know what I'm like with Simpsons.
You know what I'm like with Simpsons.
Shut up. I don't have any dating tip, just that Andy is a picky guy. Well, I'm still single, so it's not fucking got me anywhere being picky, has it? So it's not exactly I'm a ringing endorsement for it, but you know, shit happens.
Have you watched Peaky Blinders, Andy?
No, I refuse to watch things that are too popular. Apart from Breaking Bad.
I've started watching it and it's really good.
No, the thing is, I've got that much stuff to watch now.
Popular.
Sorry?
It's certainly not as popular as The Walking Dead, and you watch that.
Yeah, but Walking Dead's got zombies in it.
Peaky Blinders has got gangsters and lots of violent murders.
I know, but I'm not really into like fucking shit that goes on in the past.
Okay.
Unless it's in a galaxy far, far away.
Well, yeah.
But the thing is, I've got The Wire to watch. I've got loads of films I've not watched. I've got The Walking Dead to catch up on. There's a series called Altered Carbon on Netflix, which I'm halfway through. And have you heard of a series called Alone that was produced by the History Channel?
No.
Where this is probably they put a load of people on an island and they're all isolated, so they're not next to each other, like 20 miles apart. And they've only given a few provisions that they've got like survived completely on their own for like a month. And they win a prize.
Oh, do they?
But it's I'm really enjoying that in a minute.
What prize do they win?
I think it's like, how much is it? It's like 100,000 or 200,000, something like that. A lot of money.
Nice.
So basically, it's the person that lasts the longest. So people will. It's really, really interesting because it makes you realise how dependent we are on being social creatures. So because they're completely on their own, some of them get so lonely and so pissed off that they just throw the towel in after a couple of days. Some people start to go mad and start talking to themselves. You know, like Tom Hanks did on Castaway.
Yeah.
Talking to footballs and shit like that. It's like that. Some people go a bit crazy. But it's just really interesting because it gives you a really good insight into the human condition and what we're like when we have all our creature comforts taken away from us. And these people, they have to hunt, they have to build their own shelter, they have to obviously provide they haven't got any entertainment, they've got no books, they've got nothing, they have to keep themselves occupied. It's just really fucking interesting. But do you think that's something you'd like be interested in?
Yeah. I'd love to go and fucking live.
No, I mean watch it, not take part.
Oh.
You wouldn't fucking last 5 minutes, man.
I fucking love that.
Bollocks. No beer, no fucking weed, no fucking scam baiting. You'd be fucked.
Nah, fucking, you'd see, I would have my deer killed, be chowing down on the venison, chilling back, drinking some fucking lovely river water.
Yeah, but you can't mix vodka with the river water.
I'd get vodka, I'd get a Russian man, milk him dry, and then I'd make distilled vodka. Ugh. And that would be that. And everyone else would be running around in this magical TV show.
Okay.
And I would be the one who would have killed his deer, be drinking his lovely vodka, and looking around, and everyone else go, fucking hell, easy.
Do you know who you remind me of at the minute? You remind me of David Brent, where he's in the hotel on the Christmas special, where they're filming him lying down on that bed in Travel Lodge where he's going. They'll come crawling back to me and I'll say, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. And then he just falls asleep because he's that pissed.
I am very drunk. I think it might be time to finish because I don't think I can stay awake much longer.
I didn't realise you were still awake.
I'm still here. I can't. If I let Andy just talk, he's just going to go on about fucking. What's he been talking about? Fat women and cake and chocolate and sucking men off. So yeah, that's enough for this evening. Wait, on your new channel, surely you can stream anyway, Andy. Why don't you could just start a stream?
I'd have to no, because it'd have to be like Predator specific, wouldn't it? And I can't be asked.
Well, that's a shame. But yeah, sub to Andy's other new channel, not other, but his new channel, and then you can find his spiritual channel. The spiritual man that hates fat women. I think it's called. No, I'm joking, of course. It's just called Andy Loves Men.
I do indeed.
I can't even string a sentence together unless it's being offensive towards Andy.
Well, thanks for the link, Skeleton Siskit. For some reason, it wouldn't let me. Oh, it's because I was trying to link a website to the chat before and do it. Let me try again. No, it's not letting me do it. I was trying to do a link to the court documents from the case that we were talking about. What this whole stream was supposed to be about, but yeah, sorry.
Alright.
You still alive?
Just about, but yeah, I think it's time to say goodnight to everyone. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Andy, as always. And thanks
cheers, mate.
Joining us, everyone, in the chat.
Yeah, cheers for sticking with us, guys, despite Adam's drunkenness.
Well, it's been emotional. Sorry, especially the beginning. I stopped and restarted the stream, so hopefully people can hear us now. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. If you've enjoyed this, please do remember to leave a like and go and subscribe to Andy's channel. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you later, everyone.
All right.